Okay, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about color now, since we have these lovely blue and orange boxes here. If you click on any object, you'll see there's a couple different places where you can impact the color of an object. So right here on your left-hand toolbar, there's a full square and then what looks like the outline of a square, and that basically is your fill and what the stroke, which is basically the outline. So right now I have a blue fill and an orange stroke. If you double-click on this, you get a dialog box and you have a variety of options on how to change the color. You can click around in this box to change the color. Let's say you needed something that was more red. You can slide that up and choose a red, or slide it down, choose a yellow, whatever it is you need to do. You can also tell it in terms of hue, saturation, and can never remember what the B is, HSV values or RGB values, CMYK values, or if you do a lot of web work, you can enter in the hex code for a web color. And then over here on the right-hand side, if you click color swatches, if you've got some swatches loaded in, is that showing up with a bunch of color swatches for you guys? It is, good. Okay, then you can actually choose color swatches from here as well. So you see we can do that over here. You'll also see in the bottom below that there's a white box with a line through it, which basically means clear. So if I click on this, then all of a sudden I lose the fill, but it's not that this is filled with white. If I move this over, here, you can see it actually is a see-through center. The other thing you can do is the center box right here applies, you have to actually have something selected when you do this. The center box here will apply a gradient. And then whenever you click that, the gradient box should automatically appear. And this is where you can control your gradient, and you can choose whether it's a linear gradient. You can change it to radial, which basically means the gradient starts at the center and radiates out. If you do have a linear gradient, you can also affect the angle. So if this is right now left to right, but if I put in 90 degrees, it'll go top to bottom. And then the slider right here actually controls both the color and the position of the gradient. So if I click on this top little diamond right here and move things over, I can make the gradient be more black than white. If I move it over this way, it can be more white than black. And then can also double click these little boxes on the gradient slider, and that should open up your color swatches so that you can pick a different color, blue, but if I wanted it a different color blue, oh, here we go. Then you can pick from within this little color rainbow right here. And you can do that for both sides of your gradient. There's also, in order to manipulate a gradient, there is an individual gradient tool. So if you go over to your toolbox on the left-hand side, you'll see a box with a gradient inside of it. And if you click on that, you see I got this gradient tool within the object itself, and this gives you a little bit more sort of freehand control over your gradient. So you can click and drag, again, your slider to say where you want your break line to be. And then also within this, you can position your colors.
There's a way to insert like different gradients, right? Like there's a way to do
like preset gradients?
No, like I feel like I've done it before and I don't remember how to do it again.
We add more color?
Or adding, like, for example, if you just have black and white, like adding like different like grading.
Yeah, so okay, so over here, let's say if I click, you see where it has a little plus button? Is this what you mean? Where you can add in a different color?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So you can go now from white to blue to purple. Exactly, yeah. So when you have a little plus, and you can add as many of these as you want and change them. So let's say I wanted yellow in here or whatever. Yeah. Okay, so the other piece of this is the stroke. So we've been messing with the fill, and if you click on this, you can see right now the fill is in front, which is why that's what we've been manipulating. If you click on this stroke box, then that basically selects the stroke, and you can double click on that, and then you can change the stroke color to whatever you want. You can even add a gradient to your stroke if you so choose to be so bold. And then if you go back up to your control panel up here, under your stroke value, you can make your stroke thicker or thinner and manipulate it that way. And again, because Illustrator likes to put things in 18 different places, oh, it's not on here. On my default workspace that I have, I actually have stroke set as an individual toolbox over here that I can reach as well. The other cool thing is that you can select an object, and there's a little tool over here in your toolbox that looks like an eyedropper, and what that does is it basically applies the color values to the object that you've selected. So I have my orange and my blue and orange box selected. If I click my eyedropper tool and click on this other box, you can see it automatically changes it. And that's really useful if you spend, you know, a lot of time, like I do occasionally, creating the perfect style on some object, and then you have like 80 other objects that you want to put the same style to. You can just use the eyedropper really quickly to do that.